Hello everyone, and welcome. We're out here for an unscheduled overnighter. I was planning on coming out just for the day and picking out an area, shoveling out the snow and cutting a bit of firewood, and then I was going to come back on Monday to do an overnighter. Today is Saturday. Some unexpected things happened and I decided to just come out today, which means I would have to shovel out an area, cut some firewood, set up the tent, do everything all in one day. I decided I'm gonna go to the same spot I went last time. We haven't got a ton of snow since that night, so it should be easier to shovel out the area where the tent's gonna go. I brought some extra firewood with me in case I don't have time to cut firewood, because it is rather late. It's already almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a whole lot later than I wanted to get out here. But I've got the sled all packed up. We're gonna pull the sled out there. I made some modifications to my belt. If you'll recall, when I put the belt on, it had long straps that would hang behind me. I crossed them in the front, they would drop down. They weren't comfortable. Hanging behind me, I lost a lot of control. It worked, but I lost a lot of control. So what I did is I cut the strap off. I figured out roughly where they would go, and I stitched them back on. Now, it's not a great stitching job. The red is the stitching job that was already there. I stitched it across here, across the bottom, across the top. I basically made 2 squares. But that being said, I taught myself how to stitch, and I was doing this all by hand. Well, you can imagine stitching through the webbing and through the foam belt. It wasn't easy, and it was very time consuming. I did a short test. I strapped it on, grabbed the sleigh, and I got June to hop in it, and I pulled her around in the backyard. The reason for the day trip today was I was going to load the sled and test it out before I put the weight of an overnighter in that sled. Well, trial by fire. The weight of the overnighter is in the sled. And there's an extra bag of wood in there. Usually I bring 1 little bag of hardwood to keep the fire going through the night. This time I brought 2. In case I couldn't cut enough firewood for the evening, I've got some extra. Shovel just in case, but as you can see, there's not a whole lot of snow. After I had shoveled out last time, we only got a tiny bit of snow, and we also got a little bit of freezing rain. What's down here is just a thin layer of ice. So I'm getting ready to stake out the tent. But the one thing I'm doing differently this time than I did last time is I'm going to use these ice spikes to stake the tent. The last time I was able to just drive in regular tent stakes. But it was so cold overnight, when I got up in the morning, they were frozen into the ground and I had to fight to get them out. At least with these, I can just twist them out, we're done. Now I'm only using these to stake the tent. I am going to use regular stakes for the guy lines. Tent is up. It's not as good of a pitch as I would like. It kind of gave me a bit of a hard time today, but it's up. And we're going to be able to sleep. So what more can we ask for? Now, I hurried up and lit the stove. I've got my insulin bag staying warm. It is quite cold today. But we'll be all right. But now that I've got the tent up and a bit of heat going in here, I took the tarp from the sled because there's a snow skirt all around this tent except for the 3 panels where the 2 doors are. The 2 doors and the center panel between the 2, there's no snow skirt there. So what I did is I took the tarp from the sled and I just blocked the 1 door and the center panel. I've got the tarp there hoping to keep as much of the cold air out as I can. I've curled it up a little bit, and what I'm doing is I'm putting all my stuff sacks, and my backpack is eventually going to go there, and it's just going to block as much of the wind as possible. I'm about to go out and put a little bit of snow on the snow skirts just to try and stop some of the cold air from coming in, and at the same time it'll keep some of the heat from going out. Try and keep it as warm in here as I can. So here's what I was saying about the tarp. I've laid it out across these 2 panels, and I'm just going to throw all my gear and my stuff sacks and everything on there just to try and keep as much air out of there as possible. I'm not going to stop it all, but if I can stop most of it, it'll help. So now that we got a little bit of snow on the snow skirts, we're keeping the heat in. I came out here to look for a little bit of firewood so I can supplement the hardwood that I brought. This is perfect. Most of the bark is already gone off of it, which means a lot of the rain and the snow will just run right off. It won't stick to it. If there's too much bark on it, the bark tends to hold water. Now before I try and cut this down, I'm going to see if I can push it down because it sounds like it's pretty rotten at the bottom. Down it went. Now I think I'm going to cut it at least in 2 just to make it a little more manageable to carry out of here. Quite often, if you look around, Mother Nature will find things that'll help you out. I've got a stump here with a branch sticking out. As long as I'm not slamming on it, should give me a nice area to buck up some of this log. So I cut up all that wood, split some of it, left some of it out here for the outside fire, but honestly, I don't think I'll be sitting out here very long. It's supposed to turn a bit cold tonight, down to about, I believe the low is minus 18 Celsius with a wind chill of minus 25 Celsius. I think I'm going to sit out here for now while it's nice, enjoy this little bit of a fire. I've got the heat going in the tent just to keep my stuff from freezing. But once it starts to get dark, I'll get into the tent, turn on the light, start cooking supper. But now, after cutting all that wood, I think a barking squirrel is in order. Oh. It's good, but it's cold on the hands. Get my gloves back on. So I mentioned earlier, I was supposed to come out here on Monday. That was my original plan. I decided to come early. Today is Saturday, because things are going on, and basically I got a job offer, but the job offer is not in my field. So I'd be doing something completely new. So I can't just jump on it and say yes. I had to have a bit of time to think about it. And what better place to think than out here? Well, I think I'm going to sit back for a bit and enjoy this fire. Then a little later we'll head into the tent and get ready to start cooking supper. The bed is kind of set up the same as last time. It's the same sleeping bag. It's the same wool blanket. Now, the air pad I was using last time was the Gear Doctor's Apollo Air. It's got a 5.3 R rating, and I would wrap it in a sheet and stick it inside the sleeping bag, hoping to help keep it warm. That last night, where it got down to minus 27, minus 31 with the wind chill, I could feel a little bit of cool from my back. So I decided to combine Christmas and my birthday, and I bought myself the Apollo Air NXT thermal sleeping pad. I forget what the actual name is. But it's got a 7.3 R rating, so it's a lot warmer. But when I bought it, I bought the regular wide. The Gear Doctor's Apollo Air is 20 inches at its widest spot. The Thermarest is 20 inches at its widest spot. But because I bought the regular wide, it's 25 inches at the widest spot. With the 20-inch Apollo Air, it was fine in the sleeping bag, on the cot. But late in the spring, early in the fall, when I decide to do different tent camps and I'm laying on the ground. I'm not using the cot. My elbows, my arms would always fall off the sleeping pad, and I'd get cold points there. I'm hoping that with this one being the wider one, my arms will stay on top of it and I'll stay warm. Now in here, I can't put it inside the sleeping bag. It's too wide. So I've got it underneath my sleeping bag. And hopefully that'll do the trick. But with a 7.3 R rating, it's a lot higher than what the other one was. We'll see what we say in the morning. So I've got my fire maple pot. I'm going to be using that to cook supper tonight, or at least part of it. Steamer, yeah, I'll be using that too. We'll start with the potato. Put some water in the pot. I may add more later. I'll see once I get the potato cut up and put in there. But the plan cut up this potato. Trying not to throw too much of it on the ground. Get that in the pot. Okay, so we have one potato in the pot. My plan is to put the steamer on the top. And now I brought some Brussels sprouts. Get the Brussels sprouts in the pot, sitting in the steamer. And now, as the potatoes are boiling, the Brussels sprouts are going to steam. Now I've got some butter. I'm going to put some of that in the bottom of the pan. Get those in the pan. Get the pan on the stove, start melting that butter. And we're going to start to saute those onions. Now we have a nice top sirloin steak. and some cremini mushrooms. I'm going to pop those mushrooms in the pan with the onions. A little bit of olive oil. And I have my blend of garlic powder, Montreal steak spice, with a little bit of smoked paprika. So I'm going to rub this oil. Spice the steak. Flip it over. Do the same to the other side. Mushrooms and onions are pretty much done. Let's add in that steak. So, mushrooms and onions are well done. The steak looks like it's ready. Get these Brussels sprouts out of there. And now I gotta turn off the camera, so I gotta go outside and drain those potatoes. Potatoes have been drained. Ooh, that's hot. Steamer is out of there. Yeah. Perfect. Pop the potatoes in the pan. Find my cutlery. Oh, those are perfect. Those Brussels sprouts are delicious. Mushrooms and onions. Perfect. Now let's cut into this steak. Oh, nice. Oh yeah. Oh, that is excellent. Okay, I'm gonna devour this. See you in a little bit. Well, that was delicious. I've rinsed out the pot, and I rinsed out the pan and wiped it out as best I could. Now I think I'm gonna have a dipped in chewy chocolate chip granola bar. Perfect ending to the perfect meal. Now that the belly's full, this is probably going to be the rest of my night, is just sitting here, stoking the stove. I've got my little speaker. I can turn on some music. And I've got my e-reader so I can read a book. And sit here and just relax. Unless anything eventful happens, we'll see you guys in the morning. Have a good night. Morning, everyone. I hope you slept well. I know I did. Time for that all-important first sip. Oh. That first cup in the morning is always amazing. So, the new Thermarest sleeping pad. I like it. For somebody who moves around a lot in their sleep, it kind of sounds like a crinkled up chip bag. But for someone like me, I don't move. I usually lay down and I lay on my side for a little while, and then I roll onto my back, and that's where I spend my night. And let me tell you, it didn't take very long when I laid down. I could feel the heat reflecting back from that pad. It reflects your body heat very well. I slept cozy all night long. I was actually a little too warm. Having that wool blanket inside with me, that heat would bounce back and the wool blanket would trap it. Whoo! I was almost on the verge of sweating. It's nice and warm. Cold outside though. Went and had a little peek a while ago there, and looks like there's a little bit of snow that fell. Not much, but there's a little bit all around the skirting of the tent here. There wouldn't be any at the top because the stove would have taken care of that. Oh. But it was a great night. Read my book for a while, Sat and relaxed for a while. Enjoyed the warmth and the sound of the wood stove. I love winter camping for that. Listening to the crackle of the wood stove, feeling the warmth from it, and not a mosquito to be seen. Perfect time of year for camping. That's the one thing with this tent. Being such a dark green color, it doesn't let in a whole lot of light. Even if I open the door, it doesn't let a whole lot of light in here. And it does let the cold air in. Cold air or dark? I'll go with dark. Thanks. No, I don't need birch bark in there. Putting away a lot of the electronics that I don't need. My headlamps, it's bright enough out there now. In here I've got the camera light going, so I'm okay there. My charger for charging my phone last night. And that's pretty much it for the electronics for now. I had to grab the Zoleo. I'm going to be going outside in a couple of minutes. So I may as well turn on the Zoleo, check and see if there's any messages. I turn it on at night. I'll usually send down a quick message. I'm safe. This is where I'm at. Have a good night. See you in the morning. Then when I get up in the morning, I stick it outside, I turn it back on. Just in case something's happened overnight. You never know when an emergency will come up. Well, that was a good coffee. Alright, I'm going to get out and go turn on that Zoleo. Then I'll come back in here and we'll start packing up a little bit. So the plan now is I got to get this wood out of here. I've got a small tarp in the front of my bag that I always keep. I'm going to set that up outside. It's not snowing, so I can put all the bedding and everything else out there on the tarp. And that'll give me room to put away the cot. I'm going to get all this wood outside. Start a little fire out there so that once I'm done in here and I start taking apart the tent, if my hands get cold, I got a nice spot I can go warm up. I left just a little bit of coffee in the pot. Once everything from in here is done and ready to go and all that's left is to pack up the tent, that's when I usually sit and have my last cup of coffee. pack up the rest, and head out. But working in here, hunched over like that, rolling up the bed and everything, it doesn't take long. My back tends to get sore, so I do a little bit. Sit in the chair, relax my back a little, do a little more. It's the only way to get things done, a little bit at a time. A bit here, a bit there. It all gets done in the end. I guess while I'm sitting here, I can pack up this pot. Oh no, I meant the bottom. And there's only enough left for one last little cup, and I don't want to drink it right now. I guess that means I gotta get cracking and get packing. Okay. I love having the double zipper on this door, because that bottom zipper, I almost have to get on my hands and knees to be able to reach it. But by having the double zipper, I unzip from the top, climb out. Then I can open the door and go about my day. Now I can start making some room. Whew. Start getting ready to tear down. Well, I'm pretty sure you don't want to be bored just watching me pack up. So I want to thank you all for coming along. Always a pleasure having you with me. And if you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. And if you're going to do that, you may as well hit the notification bell. When you do, there'll be a drop-down menu. In that menu, select all. That should let you know whenever we put out a new video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.